balance to us. But area, divisional, regional, national, we have places where people are telling us about other things. Yeah?
When you, sorry, go back to evangelism and staff team, were you the only staff at the time?
No. There were two. Yeah, so thanks for asking. There were two staff teams. Half of us were focused on leadership development and community development, and we had some radical change that needed to happen to our leadership structure, and then the other three of us were just doing evangelism. So we had that benefit. We had multiple staff, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I was accused of being a fanatic. People started thinking I didn't care about justice, and for years I started fearing that I was that caricature. I'm a guy who cares about evangelism. I don't care about people. People are projects. I don't care about justice. I'm one-dimensional. And I started fearing that I was becoming that because people viewed me that way. And I think to some degree you have to be willing to face some of those accusations, do soul checks, gut checks, but yet hold your focus. And it doesn't mean you don't make changes, but you hold the focus. So let me ask a question. What are you willing to place as a second or third priority? You can't add this on. If you want to establish this culture, if you want to get this momentum building, you have to remove something else that you're doing. You can't do this as an add-on. It won't happen. In my ministry, it was a sub-zero evangelistic culture, meaning we had a sub-zero interest in loving people who weren't within our community. So what about your campus? What will focus look like on your campus? What is going to have to be on your stop doing list? Where will you feel the tension of leaving the 99 behind? Where will you have to face that fear and that concern? So I want to just get into some details about focus. I think for supervisors, you need to have your staff think about goals. How are they going to focus and make concrete commitment in terms of goals, time, and schedule? Where in their schedule every week are they going to be committed to doing evangelism together? For our staff team, as we've merged the evangelism transformation team into one team, we've struggled to maintain that focus. So we've had to do things that keep us focused. You ready? Because I have to, as the team leader, think about things other than evangelism. I got to meet with the Justice Corps at midnight till 2 in the morning. Got to be done. And I got to deal with a whole bunch of other things. So this is some suggestions. Number one, we committed that over the next 5 years, every year we're going to do an outreach that engages people outside of our community. We're going to do an outreach that forces our community to reach the campus. We call it our Beyond Friends campaign. That we're committed to loving people beyond our immediate friends. And so every year we're going to do an outreach that would press our community. The first year we did a thing called Passion Week. We showed the movie, we did surveys on what are you passionate about. We invited people to the movie, we had discussion, we invited people to a speaker talking about the case for the resurrection. That was a $3,000 budgeted outreach. The next year we went up to $5,000. We did an outreach called Strip and Uncensored. We had a woman who had been in the sex industry, who had been a porn star and a stripper, who came and spoke on our campus on a Wednesday night. Of course, she packed out the room. Whenever we went on campus, people were like, "What was that?" And people came to hear about this woman talking about her conversion, her transformation at the hands of Jesus, that Jesus changed her life. And the real truth about the sex industry. What goes on behind the cameras of those pornos that you just can't stop watching? Let me tell you what goes on there. And she just really got to people's hearts. That weekend we had a conference called Uncensored, and people came to spend a whole day thinking about the relationship between spirituality and sexuality. That was a 5,000 person conference, and the next year we did Impact One. And each year we're committed to doing something. So each year God's just giving us more and entrusting to us more. And the budget's getting bigger. There's some face steps there. Do we have to, remember the cycle? Do we have to trust God? Yeah. But we did it. Impact One had about a total budget of about $70,000, and it was an unimaginable scale of work and effort and coordination. And but we, 5,000 people went through the tent. A lot of people came to faith. We raised a lot of money, and it was another. That's how we maintain our focus. Every year we're going to do this outreach. Another way we've maintained it is our staff team committed years ago that every week during the same day we did our staffing, we would do campus evangelism together. So when we were planning and doing our staff meetings, it was in the mindset of our campus. We were in touch with our campus. It was always informing how we did our meetings. Right? Every week we're out doing conversational evangelism together. Now I'm going to give you the reality of how hard it is to maintain that focus. For the last year and a half, we have not done it. We have stopped doing it. And if you were to ask anyone on my team, why did you stop doing it? They would say, because we've gotten busy and we just haven't known how to do it, maintain that focus. We haven't gone out and done it once this entire year. Not once. So here you got Ryan, who's teaching this, training on it, and I'm telling you how real that challenge is. It's real. But those are the kinds of places of focus that keep evangelism in your heart as a priority. Number 2, reading and finding mentors. I want to challenge you guys to find mentors. Mentors that inspire you in evangelism. Amy Semple McPherson, if you need an amazing woman to inspire you. And the best thing about Amy's life is that a lot of the biographies about her show her strengths and weaknesses. She wasn't perfect, but she was an amazing evangelist who had a huge heart for social justice and crossed many boundaries to the black community and to the Latino community in LA. It's amazing what her church did. I mean, she's an example of crazy charismatic gifts, crazy evangelism gifts, crazy social justice gifts. I mean, you just got to study her life. She's a piece of work. Find people that inspire you. Read biographies. Those will keep your passion. Those will develop your focus. Find staff in the movement that you can visit. For students, find staff, find friends. Find people that you can commit to spending maybe once a month with, once a week with, once a quarter or semester with. Who will be your mentor? And if you think you're going to develop a focused mindset on evangelism by yourself, without a mentor, someone who's challenging you, you're not going to be able to make it. You will not do it. I'm guaranteeing you will not. The analogy I was given when I first became a Christian was, Ryan, my friend, told me, if you have a coal in a fire, and you take one of the coals and put it out to the side, what happens to that coal? It burns out. It goes cold. And that was my friend, my age, right, who led me to Christ. And that's what will happen. That's what happens when we get out of fellowship. I'm like, whoa, dude, that's deep. But that's true for just evangelism or any passion. You can't do it alone. For me, it was hanging out with Doug in LA and going and getting regular fixes of evangelism passion with Doug, even when it was not convenient for my schedule or my time. And then it was going up and hanging out with John when we were doing gigs. And being with John and Doug, it wasn't just being with them, it was being around the community of people that had gathered around them that was inspiring. If Ramiro were here, he would tell you the indescribable passion and joy we felt every time we were driving back at 3 in the morning from a gig leaders meeting or an edge meeting, inspired, fired up, so inspired we couldn't even sleep. I had an area meeting the next day where I was leading some of the teaching, and I was driving back from LA at 3 in the morning, going to bed at 4:30 in the morning because I had to finish preparing the teaching that I was going to do at this area meeting. My first time I ever taught at an area meeting. I was so nervous, teaching all the area directors. I was like, oh man. But God used that passion. You got to get around people who inspire you. You got to fly there, drive there, you can eye-chat there. I don't know. You need to get there. Next, you need to form. I want to challenge you to form a team. Staff, if you want to maintain focus, form a team. That may be with other staff, like I was able to do it. It may be a campus team. It may be an area divisional team. People you'll meet with on a regular basis to encourage each other and go, how are you maintaining your passion? Hold each other accountable. Hey, are you still on campus hanging out with non-Christians? No, I'm not. Accountability doesn't have to just be, are you looking at porn? No, I'm not looking at porn. Hey, how are you doing with the shopping list? Are you still buying a lot of stuff? And then you're walking, no, okay. It doesn't have to be the same old stuff, Like shopping's, never mind. I don't know why, I think those Gap catalogs were like equivalent to like male pornography,
Oh!
All this merchandise. Anyways. Sorry.
Focus, right? Focus.
Forming a team. How do you get with people? Students in the room. I would challenge you. I think the people that you came here with are someone you need to start partnering with. What would it look like for you guys to form an accountability group that met weekly or bi-weekly? Most accountability groups are guys meeting with guys, girls meeting with girls. That's fine. Maybe there's room for that. But what if you formed a unique accountability group for the rest of this year?